Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Snapshot Photo Vlog. This is episode 4. Today, we're going to talk about a couple quick things. I'm going to try to keep this one brief. So I have some initial impressions of 2 new film stocks that I've never shot before, and I'm going to show off a couple prints that I just had made. So let's get right into it with the first film stock. I picked up a few rolls of Fuji Acros 2 recently. I've never shot this before. I've always been kind of interested in it, but I was always a little apprehensive due to the price. It's pretty expensive. I think it goes for about 12 to 13 bucks a roll. And for a black and white film, that is a little off-putting. I forget where I bought it from. Where did I think it was Freestyle Photo. I can't figure it out, whatever. But recently a major photo store had some on sale for like half price, so I jumped on the opportunity and I picked up 4 rolls. So for this first roll that I shot, I actually pushed the film to ISO 400. And judging by the examples of the film at different ISOs, I think 400 was the right move. Box speed seems a little flat, and 400 really introduces a nice contrast to this film without introducing a lot of grain. I shot this roll during a paid shoot that I was doing. Little fact about me, I really don't do and I don't like doing paid shoots, but I do make the occasional exception for like family members and close friends. So I was doing a shoot for my sister who is starting a small business. And while I had the opportunity to take some portrait photos, I busted out the Bronica and shot this first roll of Fuji Acros. And I have to say, I am absolutely blown away by the results. Even though some of the photos that I took came out a little underexposed, I managed to pull a ton of data back and got some really, really excellent results. At 400 speed, the amount of contrast and this kind of drastic tone curve that you get, along with the sharpness and practically zero grain at 400 speed, is just fantastic. I'm really glad that I picked up several rolls of this film because I'm really, really excited to shoot it again, and I'm really excited to see how it works at different ISOs. I definitely plan to shoot at least 1 roll at box speed, but I think 400 ISO is the way to go. I just have to be careful about underexposure. Like I said, some of these photos that I took a little underexposed and had virtually no data in the blacks, but I think it worked out for the shoot that I did. So this shot might be my favorite shot from the roll. It's sharp, the tone curve of the black and white film is absolutely stunning, and I think just everything about this works. I should also mention that I shot this roll with a black Pro Mist filter on, which, you know, seems to work really well for portraits, and I think the black Pro Mist filter also adds this really nice effect, especially in the highlights, that gives kind of just this overall glow, which we all kind of, you know, equate the black Pro Mist filter to. And in this case, I think it works really well. So the next film that I shot for the first time was Lomography's Lomo Purple. And this is one that I've been really, really high on and really excited about. I've actually had these rolls in my cabinet for well over a year, and I'm pretty sure in that time they've expired. So keep that in mind when you're kind of looking at these results. But overall, I really loved how this stuff came out. I think it has this kind of otherworldly look. It's not the sharpest film, but sharpness really isn't something that I would be looking for when using this film. I think the purple scale look is really fun. This is a type of film that you could really give to anyone and they could have a good time with it. An amateur could really get something exciting out of Lomo Purple or without really relying on perfect composition. And for me, I felt that it was an opportunity to kind of just shoot and enjoy shooting. It didn't feel like I had to make any kind of masterpiece or anything. It just put in this weird film and have a good time with it. I felt like I was a little intimidated by this film, and that's why it kind of took me such a long time to shoot. I was really waiting for that perfect opportunity, you know, waiting to go to a place with a lot of green, a lot of foliage, a lot of colors. And eventually I just realized how silly that was and that I needed to just kind of grab it and go and just try it and see what comes out. And I'm finally glad that I did. Taylor is actually shooting her first roll of this as well, and when she saw my results, she was like, man, this is so cool. It looks like, you know, it looks like a painting. It looks like otherworldly, and I totally agree. It's a very unique look, and I think it's a film that everyone should give a shot to. I shot 1 roll in 35mm and 1 roll in 120. As you can see from this film back in my Bronica has a light leak that I need taken care of, but it's not a big deal. And in some cases with the Lomo Purple, I don't think it's too distracting or takes away much from the photo. And as you can kind of see, this muddiness, this muddy looking grain, it's a telltale sign of expired film not getting enough light. which leads me to believe that this film has been expired for probably about a year or two. Like I said, it's been sitting in my cabinet for a really long time. It didn't really take anything away. I think the overall look was kind of just fine. I will say though, I was slightly annoyed with some of the Lomo quality control. There were a lot of scratches and a lot of static on some of this film, and that I'm not a huge fan of. Like light leaks sometimes is totally fine, but scratches and stuff, they're a big pain in the butt to get rid of. And a lot of times they don't really add anything pleasing to the photo. They just kind of become distracting. I absolutely plan to shoot Lomo Purple again. It was so much fun. I may have to wait before I know it where I am. The leaves are gonna fall off of the trees and it's gonna look pretty dead around here, and Lomo Purple is gonna be kind of useless. But if I can get a roll in before winter, I'd be really happy. But definitely come springtime, I'm gonna be loading up Lomo Purple again, and I'm gonna be shooting it a lot more. And last but not least for this one is a couple prints that I had made. Unfortunately, I had purchased frames and neither of the frames fit the photos well, so I'm actually gonna go return them after this and get some new frames, but I can show you the photos anyway, not in frames. I had them printed by my local lab. The people there do excellent work and I get all my prints done there. The first one is a bit of an interesting one. So this is from my Newport trip. I will link that video up here. These are regular 35mm frames that I've cropped to a panorama style ratio, and then I just use Photoshop to kind of frame them 1, 2, 3 in an 8x12 print. This was just a fun, unique take on, you know, the multiple photos from the trip and how I can kind of turn them into one memorable piece. The film is some slightly expired T-Max and it's slightly overexposed, and I think it prints beautifully. I personally think black and white film prints exceptionally well, and if you're gonna print stuff, print black and white film. It just looks wonderful. You don't even have to darkroom print it. Regular digital prints look excellent. But overall, really happy with how this came out. I was a little worried that there would be a kind of a quality loss when cropping 35mm frames this much, but I also do scan with my digital camera, so I do get a really, really robust scan, a really big file size that's nice and sharp and has a lot of detail. So thankfully, there's really no issues there, and the kind of 3 photos themselves, they all 3 printed really, really nicely in this kind of triptych manner. The next print is actually from my Sony RX100 Mark III. I've been really eager to get a print from that camera to really see what that small sensor can do. And this is a photo that I took while in Sandy Hook. And for a time, it was my computer background, and I was like, man, I have to get this printed. It looks so great. And again, I really wanted to see how that small sensor fared in a relatively large print. The print size is 16:9, so it's a little bit of an odd print size. And the crop is actually quite heavy. I actually had to crop in quite a bit to get this framing. But overall, the quality of the print from that sensor is really good. I mean, up close, it's not the sharpest thing. It does get a little soft in some of the corners and on the sides, but at a regular viewing distance up on a wall, this print is going to look excellent. There is plenty of detail. There is a really nice tonal range. And overall, I think the kind of long 16:9 aspect ratio makes for quite a dynamic looking print. So overall, I'm very happy, and I really think this just, you know, is proof that sensor size isn't really all that big of a deal, and you can print small photos from small sensor cameras and get really good quality prints out of them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting those framed, getting them up on the wall. Like I said, gotta return the frames that I bought for them. They were kind of cheap and they suck and they don't fit right, so I'm gonna get some better ones and get them hung up somewhere. So that's it. Thank you so much for sticking around for episode 4 of the Snapshot Photo Vlog. I try to do these every once in a while. They're kind of fun little videos that I throw together about kind of just random film and photography stuff that I'm doing. But anyway, thanks again. I'll see you next time. Bye.